innovate, and create lasting impact. And today I have my special guest, founder of One Breath Leadership and AI Performance Innovator, 30 years of Zen training, former regional head and compliance in global banking, none other than Mr. Edward Howard.
Thanks, Daniel. Thank you. I feel like I'm coming out to fight now.
Yeah, let's fight. Let's fight, Mr. Ed, in terms of entrepreneurship. And can you please introduce more about yourself that
Yeah, sure. My name's Ed Howard. I'm from the northwest of England, in between Liverpool and Manchester originally. I'm now based in Singapore. Been here for about 9.5 years. So, plan to do 2 or 3 years, and we're still here. And I run a consultancy that mixes my experience in finance and my kind of 30-year practice of Zen, which came about when I moved to Japan in my early 20s.
And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Ed. Thank you. And today let's talk about why corporate mindfulness programs are only part of the jigsaw and what actually works. So, Mr. Ed, your title takes direct aim to a multi-billion-dollar industry. Corporate mindfulness programs are anywhere. Google, Goldman Sachs, and HSS. Yet they're saying they're only part of the jigsaw. What's missing? And what are the companies spending millions on what is not actually moving the needle for their people? But before that, you answer the question, what is your new book is all about?
So my new book's called One Breath of Leadership. It comes out on the 24th of March. And really, it's a toolkit for leaders or people that are working in the corporate world, whether they be managers or even if they're on their own. And really, it's a deconstruction of a combination of meditation and mindfulness, as well as leadership performance. So, going to the question around mindfulness, I've watched with interest as that's blown up over the last sort of 25 years and become a kind of keystone of corporate life. I think everybody's experienced it in some form or another. And it's great, but it's only one part of the jigsaw in terms of handling stress better, being more focused, and so on. So it tends to not have the impact that maybe HR departments and managers would want it to have when it's treated like a well-being perk. And I think it's perhaps unfairly been shunted into that, as a health and wellness tool. When really, with a few tweaks, it can be treated as a performance skill. So, it's not about relaxation per se. It's about thinking clearly under pressure. I think the other reasons that it's maybe not made the impact that we would hope is that leaders who are really busy maybe think that it takes too much time. I think it's also painted as kind of part of a larger meditation practice, and meditation's really difficult, sitting there for 10-20 minutes and trying to clear your mind when your mind is kind of in 7th gear the rest of the time. People can find it overwhelming, they can find it frustrating, and they just think this isn't for me. So and then the other thing is, it tends not to be connected or as well connected to real work moments as it can be. So meetings, conflicts, dealing with, the people that you work with, decision making, and so on. So what the book does is try to fill that gap and paint it rather that stress reduction is a positive side effect, but the real benefit is that you make better decisions, that you're clearer, and that you can handle pressure better.
You spent over 25 years as a peak performance psychologist, working with elite athletes, military personnel, and business leaders. Was there a specific moment, a conversation with a client, or a study you read, a program you evaluated that made you realize that mindfulness alone was not enough?
That's not me, Daniel. I'm not sure whose biography that is, but I worked as a regional head of compliance, or rather, I worked my way up to that with over the years, working for some of the biggest banks in the world in London and then here in Singapore. But that whole time, I had my kind of interest and practice of Zen running along in parallel to that. And so what I was doing really was testing testing those tools and techniques that have been around for 1,500 years, to see what worked for me. And not all of them did. A regular meditation practice, I didn't find that it was enough. Mindfulness, again, I think it maybe kept the lid on stress and anxiety, but it didn't kind of get down to the heart of the problem. So the real kind of eureka moment was when I was going back through texts and studies and looking for a way or a technique that I could share with people that they could do in the middle of a working day, and in the middle of stressful situations. And that was really that it all boils down to one breath at a time. And so once I'd had that kind of idea and realization, I started to look at the neuroscience around it, started to look at the psychology behind it, and then look at what the old masters in not only in Zen but also in some of the other Eastern philosophies had said about the breath, yoga, to pull together a technique that firstly I tried for myself and knew that it worked, and then secondly, that I was using with coaching clients and other people that I know. And so the last couple of years has been really about refining that, testing it, making sure that the science stands up, and then kind of building this process around it, which is what the book does. And then alongside the book, for people who maybe aren't big readers, although the book is under 100 pages, so it's the kind of thing you can read on your commute or on a short flight or whatever. But obviously, we're all aware of the increasing influence of technology and especially AI. So what I wanted to do was essentially deliver what the book delivers, but by way of a coach, an AI coach, and an online sort of learning offering that will blend the two. Is a little bit more fun than the corporate training videos that everybody that works in big companies tends to be exposed to, and is a little bit more fun and tongue in cheek. So that it's those two things together. along with kind of seminars and coaching that I'm really stepping into this year.
Said, very well said, Mr. Ad. And you said that regular mental health checkups are essential and mindfulness practice are non-negotiable for the leaders, isn't it?
Um, I don't know if it's non-negotiable. You know, it depends. It depends if it works. You know, anything that anyone ever you know sings about as being the answer to everything is always someone that makes me raise my eyebrows a little bit, because everybody's unique and everybody's different, and certain things may work better for some people than they do for other people. But the thing with one breath leadership is it's kind of so simple and so easy to do. I mean, we're all breathing in and out anyway, right? So if we can just become kind of conscious that we're doing that for a few breaths a day, and then slowly build that up, then it should be something that most people can access and find works for them.
Indeed, Mr. Ad. You were a senior compliance officer in global banking. The role is fundamentally about seeing what other mess, the hidden breaths, the unspoken patterns, the places where the systems break. How did 30 years of Zen training change the way you saw risk?
The way I saw risk.
Yes.
That's a good question, Daniel. I think the first step in kind of any practice is awareness of, real awareness of the moment that you are in. But most of us work on, um, pre-programmed patterns. So if you're dealing with a certain person, you may be they irritate you, or there's something you don't like about them, or you think you can't trust them, and so on. And if in any interaction or conversation, uh, if you go in with those sort of preconceived ideas, it's going to affect uh, your solution, and or to use your phrase in this context, how they manage risk. So really, it's about stripping that away and meeting each interaction or each problem in the moment, getting clear uh, in terms of your mind and how your body is reacting to that situation, in terms of your breathing, or where you feel your stress, and so on. Um, and opening that space up, psychologically, physiologically, um, energetically, for want of a better phrase. So that's the key to it, really, is meeting each moment not from a place of fear or distrust, or you know the possibility of catastrophic failure, um, and dealing it with it there and then. And in my experience, that simplicity will beat the sophistication of having unlimited data, or having unlimited opinions on something. And this is a kind of performance tool, rather than just a relaxation tool.
Mr. Ad, you left banking around and found one breath leadership. What was the specific moment? A conversation, a crisis, a quiet insight on the caution, or when you knew it was the time to integrate everything you learned into something new?
Um, Well, I think it was a slow builder over 30 years. I'm not sure there's a kind of singular moment. I knew. I think I got to the point with my career in banking where um, I knew that I wanted to do something that came from me rather than operating in a big company. Um, and it took me. I resisted it for a while, but integrating the practices that I'd been doing kind of personally, and the knowledge and experience that I gained over those 2 decades in banking. I think that it eventually became apparent to me that mixing those two and writing about it, and helping other people experience the power of it. I think that came about maybe a couple of years after I'd left banking, and then the other big influence on me was I did a couple of um, uh, startup courses here in Singapore. One with a government run incubator called ACE SG. Another one with a US based incubator called the Founders Institute. And the whole startup kind of thing really came well after I'd begun my career, and I wasn't really aware of it. But what I really enjoyed about it was young people with a vision that were very positive and that were very collaborative and wanted to help each other and see each other succeed. So that was like a massive boost of sort of positive energy and encouragement. And I think if anyone out there is thinks they've got an idea and wants to know whether they can turn it into a business, I'd really recommend doing a couple of those, because they really sort of give you a boost and surround you with a community of like-minded people.
Interesting, Mr. Rad. 30 years of Zen training is not a casual commitment, it's a lifetime. What the first brought you to the caution that kept you sitting decade after decade, especially while building a career in one of the most high pressured industries on earth?
What kept me coming back to it? I don't know. I just always felt that there was a kind of deep truth in the basics of being present in the moment. I think a lot of uh, uh, the reasons that people struggle, whether it's with stress or anxiety or imposter syndrome or any of those things, is because they're thinking too much, they're speculating too much on the future, or they're dwelling or regretting things that happened in the past. And with Zen practice, you're constantly brought back to the now and to the moment. Um, and when that space opens up for you, just even for a brief few seconds, that's when you have the clarity to know what to do next, and it becomes less forced. It's you're not doing it worried about what the result will be. You're just kind of accepting where you are right there, and doing the best that you can. And I think that's quite an addictive way to look at life, and a way to look at work and your career. And it's always served me well. We've had our ups and downs, but to keep coming back to it, and is is a great anchor, and it opens up opportunities and pathways that maybe I wouldn't normally have gone down if I hadn't had it.
Mr. Ed, in Zen, there's a saying before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. How does teaching apply to leadership?
So the the basic meaning of that is that um, if you need to be doing something, chopping wood and carrying water, you can do it consciously, or you can do it subconsciously, or on autopilot. Um, and going back to the point I made earlier about how as human beings we're basically running on the program that has been created by our past experiences or our education, or the way we interacted with our families, the way we interact with our friends. If you're acting from that place, then you're not really acting consciously in the moment. You're subject to all these other interferences. So the quote really means that you're still going to be performing the same tasks, but you'd be going to be doing it in a very different way and from a very different mind.
Different way and different mind. You clearly bridge builder between worlds, east and west, ancient and emerging, compliance and creativity. What is the most difficult bridge you have to build? And did anyone on either side try to stop you?
The most difficult bridge, that I think the one that I resisted, I don't know if it was the most difficult, but the one I resisted the most was bringing these two things together. So my experience in the corporate world and uh, um, my Zen practice. No, the only person that ever tried to stop me was me, and I think there's some wisdom in that for most people, because nearly always when somebody's stuck somewhere, it tends to be what's going on in their own head that's stopping them, rather than something external. So yeah, I'd say that was the most difficult, but it was because I was most resistant to it.
Very well said, Mr. Ed. And before we wrap up the discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in sixth season, abstract poetry in third season, and of course my book 101 review in sixth season as well, comedy 101 in fourth season, and my food 101 in sixth season as well, geography 101, love letters, movie 101 review, music 101 are in fifth season, Science 101, Sex 101 are in fourth season, and my baby podcast, Trivia 101, Motivation 101, Spiritual Awakening 101, Entrepreneurship 101, Law 101, Mental Health 101, Coaching 101, of course, my Bible verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Ad, you are integrated Zen, banking, AI, and coaching into life's work of helping leaders perform without burning out. If you could whisper one sentence into their ear of everyday leader listening right now, someone is stressed, successful, and secretly wondering if it's is all there is. Well, what would you want that what sentence to be?
Um, Apart from please buy my book when it comes out on the 24th of March,
Yes.
the key is the breath, connecting your breath with your with your physiology, with your mental state, and experimenting with that to see where it takes you. So yeah, it would be that.
Indeed, one breath leadership. And Mr. Ed, can you please invite our listeners to support your upcoming book, your advocacy, or whatever project that you're doing right now?
Sure. If you go to the website, which is onebreathleadership.com, it's on the screen there. Thanks, Daniel. We're running a early reader program at the minute. People who want early access to the book, you can join up for that. And also, in the top right of the website, you can see free stuff. There's a sample of the book there. There's an audio executive summary. There's a short clip of audio, how to practice the one breath method, and I think there's a couple of leadership diagnostic tools in there as well. So please help yourself to those and get in touch if what you find interesting.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Ed, because if you support him, for sure more and more empowering books like this. Right. So, Mr. Ed, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel.
Modicum people, see you soon.